All right, here we are, day two. Sun's out, so maybe a little continuation and a couple of bumps. So originally I thought it would be as simple as this particular pipe right here going significantly lower into the ground than it actually does. And this is actually a 45-degree angle that starts turning right there. So I have a total of about 6 inches from level of concrete down to that turn. So trying to cut this off and replace it, lower it with something equivalent when I'm sure that that is cemented in. I tried a couple of different options in terms of what I could do, and I don't think any of them are going to work. In fact, I thought I'd cut this off and just cap it for right now while I'm doing work on it, which is probably what I will do until I ultimately decide what I'm going to do. So my thought is I will cut this with a little bit of a lip so that I can apply this cap for now. And I think my overall solution is going to be to go, instead of these 3-inch devices, to go to that 4-inch device. So essentially a big step up, still plenty for the hole. And I think based on my measurements, this particular lip here would go on top or the outside of that, so it allows me to go down significantly lower. But even if that was down low, it still doesn't get me the 2-inch clearance that I need for that lip. So I think what I will end up doing is cutting this off probably 3/4 of the way with a saw, so that lowers into the ground that much more. But for right now, I'm going to focus on these cracks, these 2 cracks, and something I had in the garage from a zillion years ago. So we'll see how that works for now, and then we'll play around with cutting this. Okay, so weather keeps going in and out sun-wise, so let's see if this even works. Again, found it in the garage from a long-ass time ago. It looks like it's filling the crack. So you're supposed to fill it outside the crack, let it soak in, which is what I'm gonna do. The other one while we're here. Okay, let that dry a while, see how that goes. Okay, so you can see I did both, and let's see if I leave it right there, lock it in. Tap it in. This one seems a little harder to the touch. And I probably should have got some paper towels. Right back. Paper towels in hand. Let me get my gloves back on. I hate dealing with anything concrete related as it pertains to cleaning mess. Okay, I've got my can of water here. Let that dry a little bit. And then I'll use my trusty sponge, coarse on this side, fine on that side. Tile grouting sponge with my bucket of water to kind of clean things out. While I'm waiting on that, always something in here. Never a shortage of stuff, but I don't need to. Actually, I probably do, because I'm going to have to sink go down as far as I can go on that one. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry for a little bit and do some more digging. Okay, so hole's getting deeper. Still digging. Trying to figure out where I'm going to stop so that I can cut the concrete. That's as low as I'm going to go. On this side, this is where my buddy is going to touch down. So that's coming in at I want to say about 6 inches. Six inches. All right, so that's what I need to cut that to. So that needs to be a total of 6 inches from top to bottom of concrete. Okay, a little more digging, and we'll let this dry, and then you'll see what I'm going to do with my sponge. Back in a minute. Sponge is already wet. Uh-oh, I might have let that dry a little too long. Yep, sure did. Oh, that was done. Okay, plan B. There's always plan B. What it did 5 minutes ago, but I'll probably still redo it later on. Later on being next step of the project. So that's that for now. Now let's see about cutting this. Back in a few. Handy, maybe somewhere stuck in a bunch of tools. I don't know if this is going to even work. Okay. Oh, it's kind of on there. Put gloves back on. I don't know what that's for. Maybe to keep rain out? Yeah, that is on there. Is on there quite good. So what I'll probably do is cut it high and then come in okay. More back in a minute. Take my cutter and just kind of cut around top and see how that works. I'm gonna have to get out of the way of the camera. That's off. Wonderful sound. I heard water flushing. So that's a positive. So very interesting. Look around, I'll probably smooth the edges off and just cap this so that shit doesn't get in here. But it looks like I'm gonna have to go with my original idea, or excuse me, my plan B contingent idea of using the 4-inch to essentially go right over this, and that looks like it puts me kind of close to edge. I would trim this down as well so that both this gets trimmed and then see how low I can go. I'll probably flip this cap around so that it, yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay, making progress. Dusty and messy, so I don't know if I'll have the camera on the whole. My memory card filled up when I was doing the scoring, and I had the cover on these two 4x4s, my mask, and what I ended up having to do was, after I scored all the way around the 6-inch mark, I had to bring out the rotary drill again in order to drill through to give me that size. So that came out really nice. And just for a test fit, even though I know that's too high, I'm gonna put that on, or put that in right now and see how it looks. Back in a sec. let's see how this bad boy fits. Quarter inch too high, which means more cutting or digging a quarter inch's worth of dirt out, which is probably what I'll opt to do first before going down the cut path. But this is kind of what we're after. But it is just no margin of error. So ultimately, that's what it's going to be. Only this will be level. Okay. All right. I think some more digging is in order to get that lowered. Ultimately, I was thinking, just temporarily put this on, but that's still too high because of that lip. So ultimately what will happen is that's what things will look like, only level, because I believe we are now, yep, we are at level. So in fact, we'll come up a little when we finally set this so that it's level, as opposed to being close enough. But for now, we will leave things as is, like that. So we're covered, and the project is getting closer to being able to put that in. So more cutting. In fact, I might cut this down here in the next few minutes. This will definitely have to be cut down again, probably all the way down to the bottom of the lip. But yeah, this is definitely going to get cut significantly. So let me go do that now and come back in a little bit. It was just cut down. So just cut this part off, and this should go on, and I cut that. And something tells me I'm going to have to flip the this is probably the high point. Yep. Maybe have to trim that a little bit. Pieces breaking off into my sewer. Okay, so that should fit a little lower. Let's see how this fits now. I think we're still too high. So we might have to be cutting into this bad boy a little. Yeah. So yeah, we'll probably have to cut into this in order to make that happen. It's getting interesting. That's a for sure. More to come. That's what we're going for once we cement things in. But that's still a ways off. Yeah, it is. What I would call a pre-concrete stage. Things are pretty level. In fact, let me. So I've got just enough room to move this up a hair. Same thing on this side when you see the difference between the sidewalk and here, as well as over here, which will take care of the difference in the lip. Same thing on that side, so moving that up a hair should seat this, which is relatively solid. And trying to do that one-handed while filming is easier said than done. And that was a solution to go with a 4-inch drain, or rather a 4-inch coupler with a slotted top instead of the one with the big square. So that's screwed in as low as I can get it, which is unfortunate because that's just enough of a difference to make a difference. But again, when this is raised up to be perfectly level with the sidewalk, here's a better view on how much I've got. Maybe 1/4 inch and maybe 1/8 of an inch on that side, maybe a little more. So the next step will be figuring out how I'm going to set this. Probably put a little probably put a layer of concrete down below and then start filling it in from the sides up through the top, so that is never ever going anywhere. And that's where things stand now. Getting closer.